Welcome to Real Nerds. I am Ryan. To my left is
Brad.
We are Jamesless today because James is in Cincinnati, and
In a world without James.
in a world where these two dorks are trying to do it by themselves.
Actually, I probably shouldn't make fun of him.
Only one man can save him. No, James, unfortunately, his grandmother passed away, so he had to go to Cincinnati. And this is an unfortunate thing that's happened twice during the course of Real Nerds.
Well, movie podcast, because it was an Ebcast on the...
Was it Nebcast?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, because it was
Last time
last
we did
year's movie thing. But unfortunate thing happened during our cast where...
Is there a movie podcast curse that we don't know about?
Maybe.
Do you have any grandparents, Ryan?
I do. I hope. I still have 3 grandparents, so hopefully they...
Hopefully next year's...
Hopefully they'll still be around. That's sad to think about. Hey, let's move on to more happy things. Hey, real news time.
Are you going to say what movies we saw this week?
Oh, I guess we should say what movies we saw this week.
We saw a lot.
We did see a lot. You saw by yourself.
I saw The Artist and Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy.
By myself, I saw The Artist, and together we saw...
Let's hold hands while we do this podcast.
Oh, I can feel the power. We saw Warhorse and Sherlock Holmes, A Game of Shadows. But first, hey, let's get some real news real quick.
It's real news!
Not really very much news, but I will say like a couple things about the trailers I've seen the last few days. The Snow White and the Huntsman trailer, I think is actually pretty cool.
I actually haven't seen it.
No, it has some cool imagery and like the...
It's got to be better than Mirror Mirror, right?
Yeah. Charlize Theron is the queen, and she's evil, and she kills all these people that would be who she thinks are more beautiful than she is. So it's kind of darker, and she has the coolest thing she did in the preview. She twirled around and she turned into a bunch of crows. So I mean, it looks kind of interesting. And Kristen Stewart did not say a word in the trailer, so I think that might have helped.
She's silent throughout the movie, so
Yeah.
don't get your hopes up.
And Chris Hemsworth is the huntsman, and he had, it's like a war movie. It's really crazy. It's medieval fighting and stuff, so looks interesting. We'll see. And we saw The Dictator today, which it looks okay, but I don't know if it's okay to joke about September 11th. But they're doing it.
There's even an AIDS joke in the trailer,
yeah,
right off the bat, which is a really harsh for a trailer.
Yeah, so we got AIDS and September 11th in a trailer.
Guaranteed to offend.
Guaranteed to offend, but I'll see it because it looks funny.
Yeah.
And then we saw Rock of Ages, which is some sort of zany comedy musical with Tom Cruise.
I think.
I couldn't get the tone if it's supposed to be serious or not. I don't think it's supposed to be.
I think it's a comedy, but it was very heavy on the very High School Musical looking or Glee type production.
I thought it was like Fame, but then I remembered Fame already came out
Twice.
And then they had the music in it was hair metal, but it was really saccharine hair metal where they really took out the guitars and stuff. So I don't know. I'll see it because I like seeing Tom Cruise like that because it's kind of funny.
Kind of makes me hope it was a Steel Panther movie.
I know. I was hoping Steel Panther would be in the previews, but it's probably rated PG-13, and they would not be in a PG-13.
If there's going to be a metal comedy, it should be a Steel Panther.
Yeah, they should make a Spinal Tap with Steel Panther, though, because that'd be awesome. You know what, Steel Panther, if you're listening to our podcast, my friend Brad here is a movie director. He will shoot that movie, and I will be along being an assistant or something, a production guy. I don't know.
Now enter Ryan Frost in the scene carrying the coffee.
I'll act the shit out of carrying that coffee.
Do you guys need anything? And cut.
And that's it. So that's about it for the news. I just saw a bunch of new trailers I thought were kind of interesting. Do you have...
Yeah, I got nothing. I've been making videos all week.
Yeah, I think too, though, with the holidays, there's not too much going on because I'm sure a lot of people aren't working.
People are taking vacations and things, yeah.
Yeah, not like me. I'm working. Mm-hmm. Brad's on vacation. I'm not.
But speaking of trailers, we did see another good trailer again, Dark Knight Rises.
Yep.
I haven't seen it in the theater since Mission Impossible.
And it was cool, and I noticed a few little things, and how some of the scenes have this kind of like airiness to them. I don't know how to describe it. Like it's really poetic, I guess.
The thing that I've noticed since I last saw it is that Batman looks kind of goofy in daylight. Mm-hmm. And this movie, there seems to be a lot of daylight. Like, there's not a lot of night shots.
Well, yeah, there's
like night scenes in the trailer.
There's that one fight where they're fighting in the snow on some sort of steps, which I haven't really read too much because I'm trying to keep out of it because I want to be surprised. Which Christopher Nolan's pretty good about keeping his movies under wrap, so I'm hoping that I will not get spoiled too much.
Yeah, I'm just hoping like the movie doesn't seem goofy with like because I've never felt like Nolan's treated Gotham City as like a character in the movie like Tim Burton has. Like, so I hope he's not dropping the ball on the setting of Gotham City, where he's just like gotten so into making Batman so realistic that, you know, Batman looks goofy wherever he is in the movie. I
know what you're saying, but I think it'll probably be all right.
It's Nolan. He's probably doing the right thing, but from the trailer, it makes me worried a little bit.
Nah, it'll be all right. I'm sure it'll be one of the best movies of next year. I'm not too worried about that movie.
Yeah.
That when I see movies like, you know, trailers for that, they're not going to show you a lot, and they're going to only kind of glimpses. I've seen the John Carter trailer like 17 times now.
I've seen it too many times.
Yeah. I don't know. It has potential to be cool, but then you're right. When that opening scene has Star Wars Episode 2 feel to it.
Yeah, and all the lines in the trailer are just goofy.
Super, and cliched. And
yeah. Like, what was it? What does the woman say? Like, you're John Carter.
You're John Carter of
he's like,
Earth?
Yeah, and he's like, yes, ma'am. Like, ma'am isn't like, it's kind of like a regional term.
He's a Southern gentleman from the Civil War.
Oh, yeah?
I guess the story, because it's written by the guy who did Conan the Barbarian, and I guess he's transported from the Civil War to Mars. I don't know how it happens, but...
Oh, well, that makes sense then.
That's what I've read about it.
Then, like, you're ugly, but you're beautiful. Is that Willem Dafoe?
It sounds like it, doesn't it?
I
don't know.
I don't know. The whole movie just looks goofy.
It does, but I don't think anything else is out in March that day, so I'll probably end up seeing it. I don't know what else is out. I mean, it's March. I mean, what else could possibly be out?
Yeah. Hopefully something else gets thrown in at the last second.
Yeah.
Hopefully a R-rated comedy.
We can only hope. So anyways, I did not see too many... We'll go into what we've been watching. I didn't see too many movies this week, but I did finally purchase the Back to the Future trilogy on Blu-ray.
Finally.
And so I watched the first one, and it's amazing still. And then I was shocked to find out my wife has never seen Back to the Future.
At all?
At all. She's
not even like part of it on TV?
Well, she said she's seen parts of it, but she doesn't remember anything about it. I mean, the movie's so classic.
I was going to say, for like a while there, on TNT, is one of the new classics, and it ran all the time.
Did it? But, yeah, there's just so many... You know, I forgot... all the little goofy parts in it, and it's just really funny, and it's a fun movie. It's one of those movies I love watching over and over again because it's 2 hours or something, but it just flies by because the movie's so cool. And then I watched the behind the scenes with Michael J. Fox, and him talking about it is pretty interesting. How he really originally wasn't cast as Eric Stoltz, and they had a bunch of scenes with Eric Stoltz in them.
Yeah, you watched his takes.
It just seems weird. I don't know if it's because it's such a classic movie, and you're so used to Michael J. Fox.
Well, he's made it iconic, but yeah, like Stoltz had a totally different take on that character,
and he looked way old, like too old to play Marty McFly. Might just be me, but that's what I saw. And yet, maybe because you're just so used to MJF playing him.
I find it's cool to watch all those movies together in one sitting, and you notice all these crazy details that actually carry over between
really
all three movies. Like the script for that is so detailed and specific, like, and robust. Like there's so many like behind the scenes nods to things, like to each movie. It's incredible how they just wrote the first one not expecting a hit, and then the other two, people knock them for being not as good, but I think they're just as good. And if you watch the little things that they repeated, like this jokes from the first movie that are changed and updated for the next few, it's just so complex. It's great.
See, I think they did kind of know it was going to be a big movie because the ending, he sets up the next movie.
Well, from the special features that I watched, they said they didn't expect it.
It's interesting.
They're just like, this is going to be just some 80s B movie, and we'll be.
Yeah, I didn't know that they had the script for like 5 years, and they tried to get it without Steven Spielberg's help. And then they went to Disney, and Disney said, "Oh, you can have him kissing his mom. That's incest. We're Disney." I said, "Maybe we should go back to Steven Spielberg." And they didn't want to be known as the guys who only had Steven Spielberg help them. But it's okay because we'll go into our Warhorse thing, and it's interesting. I read about what Steven Spielberg did to get that movie, and it's kind of interesting. And so we'll get into that later. Did you watch anything besides anything this week? I just watched a bunch of movies in the theater.
Yeah, what was it? James lent me Community season 2, so I burned through that again really quick. Again, like the last disc, like the last 5 episodes are amazing.
They are.
So, and I liked how they. My biggest beef with the first season was all the love triangles with Winger and every girl in the show. Just like, come on, like it's way over the top. And then it's like, how are they going to resolve the kiss with Annie? And then the way they just kind of blow off all those storylines is
it's on purpose because sitcoms always fall in those tropes where it's
the season ending.
The
like,
season
what
ending.
Just happened?
Yeah, and then they kind of just turn it on its head, and that's what's cool about Community, and I think that's maybe why it doesn't catch on, is because it's poking fun at everything, and you really have to be in tune with not only pop culture, is you have to be in tune with sitcoms and movies they're referencing, and I mean the paintball episode in that one, the first half is, as telling you, is a spaghetti western, and then it goes into Star Wars, and brilliant. So yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed Community.
Yeah,
it's a fun series, and people should be watching it. You should be watching the show, and it's sad that people don't.
And then I feel like I watched something else, but I'm blanking right now because I've been so saturated with theatrical releases.
That's all I did. Well, you know what? We'll get right into that, and we'll do the one you saw by yourself first because I didn't see it. You can talk about it, and then we can get into the ones we saw.
The 3 we saw together.
So, first, should people go see Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy? Did I say it in the right order? I think I always mess it up.
Yeah, you're fine. Yeah, if you like adult mystery, I wouldn't say I liked it a lot, but it's definitely a good movie still. So.
Cool. Hey, here's the trailer for that movie.
There is a mole right at the top of British intelligence. He's been there for years.
For 25 years, we've been the only thing standing between Moscow and the Third World War.
I'm retired. You're outside the family. You're well placed to look into this for us now.
I'll do my utmost.
I know that it is one of these men. All I want from you is one code name. Tinker. Tailor. Soldier. Spy.
I need you to do something.
I'm going to have to send you up into the lion's den. If you're caught...
What the hell are you doing up here?
Can't mention me.
I know who you are. I have something to trade. Something big.
She told me a secret.
The mother of all secrets.
She had information concerning a double agent.
You have to assume they're watching you.
Things aren't always what they seem.
It's become so ugly.
We're not so very different, you and I. We're both looking for the weaknesses in one another.
Are you going to even put the trailers in? I was just guessing.
Of course I'm going to put trailers
I'm
in.
just guessing. I don't know if you're going to do it for all of them.
In fact, you just heard it.
Nice. Good. You're on top of it.
Yep.
So the story is... I don't even know the story. I know Gary Oldman plays a spy, evidently, and it's a lot of them sitting around talking.
Yeah, it's... like last week, my complaints with the 2 movies we saw last week, just lots of exposition. And this movie is... It's an actor. It's good for the actors, especially actors of this caliber. Like this cast is loaded with great British actors. So as an actor, the ability to kind of sit down and act and say dialogue and emote, it's like a dream come true. And unfortunately, this movie was really hard for me to follow. It's something I probably would want to watch again, but it's so complex. The mystery and the espionage behind it is so all over the map. It was just I was struggling to keep on pace. And should we talk about the elderly audiences we've encountered this week?
Yeah, terrible.
Because this was two in the same day on that.
Yeah, when you tell yours about Tinker Tailor, and I'll tell you mine and The Artist.
Yeah.
What happened to me at The Artist, but go ahead with your story about the
same thing with The Artist, but not as bad as Tinker Tailor, where I had, in my experience, matinee elderly people, couples, aren't usually rude.
Yeah.
They sit there, they watch, and they're quiet. but I guess something happened, or we're heading into 2012 where everything's turned on its head, and not only did I have like one couple next to me on my left who were upset that I didn't get up right away to let them in the aisle because I was paying attention to the trailers, so they're already late, and then they're like, "Excuse me," and I was like, I wasn't trying to be rude, I wasn't fast enough for them. So anyway, they sat down, and then they just instantly started chatting, like whispering back and forth. And I started to wonder, maybe she's got a hearing problem, and he has to explain things to her or something. I don't. But no, this throughout the whole movie, and then soon after that happened, like 2 rows back across the aisle, another couple was out loud just saying everything. Ugh. Anyway,
it sucks. You know, I did read.
They're old enough to know better.
You'd think.
Yeah.
I did read that movie, you never really know what's going on in it. And it's not,
back to the Tinker Tailor.
It's not just you. I've read lots of reviews about it, and they said that's part of why it's good, is because it's getting amazing reviews, is, you know, you really don't know what's going on in it, and you never really explain the mystery. And I don't know the mystery of it, because I guess it'd be spoilish, but I mean, you can tell me.
No, I'll set it up. So there's this unit of the British spy agency. It's a bunch of guys in a room. The main one, John Hurt, is called Control, and he dishes out all the plans and whatnot. And then there's like 4 other guys, and then Smiley, who's Gary Oldman's character. And basically, there's a mole within the whole. I want to say company, but it's not a company. Within the whole
agency.
Agency, thank you. So initially, there's what's his name? Mark Strong is sent out on a mission.
Is he a bad guy?
Part of the mystery, you can't really say whether he is or not.
He's a bad
but
guy in everything.
He's not as bad as, say, Kick-Ass or Sherlock Holmes.
Or Green Lantern.
Like he's
an
agent,
John
so he has
Carter.
to do bad things sometimes
okay.
for the good of the team. So he goes off on a mission right away, and it goes bad, and he's murdered.
Well, I guess he's not a bad guy.
Well, it doesn't end there. So that's not. He's not in the movie for just 5 minutes. And there's a lot of like jumping back and forth in time trying to explain things in the movie, which makes things complicated because there isn't like a definitive transition. So like you really have to keep up. But anyway, that mission causes Control and Gary Oldman to get fired, and they elect. I'm doing finger quotes right now. They elect to get let go. And then John Hurt, I think he dies. I don't know if he's just sick, but he ends up in the hospital. I assume he overdoses to keep himself quiet or something. I don't know, or someone killed him in the hospital. It's not really clear to me. But so Gary Oldman is off in retirement, and then something spurs a reopening of the investigation. I think the British Prime Minister goes back to recruit Gary Oldman, like, look, I know about what Control was trying to do. Like, they already knew there was a mole in the agency before they got fired. So they want, since John Hurt's dead, Control's dead, they want Gary Oldman to reopen and investigate in secret because they think that it's one of the 4 guys who are still within the top level. So from then on in, like, Gary Oldman's basically like walking around, and he's like Sherlock Holmes, where he's kind of got everything all planned out. But you're watching him just go through the motions and complete the task. I gotta stop touching that wire.
You do.
Did it do that?
No.
Is that me?
That was me laughing because that was really funny.
So yeah, like you're watching the movie thinking that he's investigating, but really by the end he's pretty much known everything all along because he's the seasoned veteran, and he recruits Benedict Cumberbatch, who was also in War Horse, as one of the
he was.
To help him out, and he's got like his own side story. But yeah, it's just, basically the point is they're trying to track down this mole in the agency, and it's really detailed and complex. And
I'll tell you who it is: 006. Just kidding, because
he wasn't in the movie.
GoldenEye.
Sean Bean's not in there.
006 is the double crosser and the spy. Yeah,
it's not MI6.
Just kidding.
So yeah, it was. But I mean, when people are acting and it's put together well. except for the fact that I couldn't follow it, but that might just be me.
Mm-hmm. I don't think it's you. Like I said, I've read reviews where it's hard to follow.
Yeah, it's really fast paced and all over, and there's a lot of just like sitting and talking, which isn't fun. And even like there's this big climax where the guns come out, and then it just kind of cuts and everyone's in handcuffs. Like there's this tension leading up, and Gary Oldman's like takes off his shoes to like walk across these floorboards so he doesn't get like when the bad guy's finally going to show up and reveal himself. And then in the next scene, they're just sitting in chairs across from each other, and he gets hauled off. So there's like no gunfight or nothing, and it's kind of.
So I guess I'll wait till it's available for rent.
Yeah, I mean, if you want a good mystery that's complex, go see it in the theater. Like if you're really starving for it, but I mean, you could probably watch it at home and still enjoy it. You know.
Cool. So the next movie is another kind of independent movie that we both saw separately, but it's The Artist. Brad, should people go see The Artist?
Definitely.
I think so too. I think it was an amazing movie. Here's the trailer. What I love most about this movie is they could have used the silent movie part as kind of, my biggest problem with independent movies, sometimes it's they try to make themselves so independent that, it's annoying. Does that make sense? Like, hey, look how independent we are. But this movie...
You're substituting independent for, like, quirky and different?
Yeah, that's what I mean. But this movie is different, but what really sucked me in right away is, it opens with him in the movie with his dog, and he's, behind the stage, and it's all going big, and...
He's mugging,
and then the movie ends, and he's waiting for the applause, and there's no sound for the applause because this movie's a silent movie, and people just start cheering and laughing, and then he comes out, and I'm like, okay, I'm kind of in this movie now, I get it. Where the joke is kind of that everybody else is silent, and he is... and right away when he walks out and he's, mugging for the crowd, and his little... the actress who's in it with the movie with him, he motions... she's waiting to get her big entrance on stage too, and he motions, and then his little dog comes running out on stage.
And steals her thunder.
Yeah, who the dog is... Uggy is my hero in that movie. I fucking love that dog. But yeah, that movie was amazing.
Should you tell the story?
Oh yeah, I guess to tell the story. So he is the biggest silent film star at this Kinescope. Was that the name of the...
Oh, yeah, Kinoscope.
Kinoscope.
Or...
Kinescope?
I don't think it's Scope. I can't believe I'm forgetting this already.
Yeah, but anyway, he's one of the... he's the biggest star at this one movie company, and John Goodman plays the movie
Kino Cinema.
Kino Cinema.
It's
one of those. Anyways, John Goodman plays like the executive there, and pretty much George Valentine is given free reign. Valentine. He can give he can make any movie he wants, and he goes in there, and everybody loves him. And he runs into, rather cutely at the premiere, this girl who just happens to be pushed in with him, and he mugs with her, and then Variety runs, "Who's this girl with George?" And it's in all the newspapers, and it turns out she's an actress too.
Yeah, it's just an accidental encounter.
Yeah, accidental encounter.
The media runs with it.
It's really funny because after that, you follow her to an audition where she can just dance. And she dances, and she gets picked in the movie, and it's time's going by, and George is still really cool, and then he's called into John Goodman. Did they ever say his character's name? John Goodman's?
Well, no one says anything.
Yeah, well, I mean, even I guess on the cards,
he might have had a nameplate on his desk, and I just missed it. But John Goodman's executive.
Yeah, so he calls him in and says that the talkies are the future.
Yeah. Well, first he's upset because instead of the movie getting press, their little
that's right,
Encounter on the Street generates press. Like it overshadows the premiere of the movie. So when the girl tries to get an audition, he doesn't want her in the movie, and then George is just like, "Well, I want her in the movie, and I get what I want, so you're going to do it."
I forgot that great scene where you just see her legs, and he's dancing with her. Amazing.
And they don't know that they're each other yet because there's that wall in the way.
Yeah, I mean, as an audience, but it's really cool that they don't. And anyways, so
he John Goodman's trying to look for a way to get Valentine to not do basically controlling his job.
Mm-hmm.
So when he discovers the talkies thing, it's like his way to haha, now I finally got you.
Yeah, exactly. And while the silent films are going away, George, his career starts going down, and
he's got so much selfish pride that he's he blows the talk, any kind of new technology. He's stuck in his world of
exactly.
Everything I've had works, and there's no reason to change anything. People love silent films.
What was the name of the actress? I can't remember her name in it. Not the actual actress, but her character, Peppy Miller.
Yeah.
So it's cool because they show her in title cards where she's dancer, and she's there, and then she's slowly moving up,
slow rise to
the top, and then she becomes the talking movie sensation.
Yeah.
And George refuses to be in a talking movie, and so he basically gets fired from the studio, and he decides he's going to finance his own silent film, and
then the stock market crashes.
The stock market crashes, and he loses all his money, and his wife leaves him, but he still has his dog. I love the dog in the movie,
and his chauffeur,
who's James Cromwell, who's amazing.
Yeah,
and so he does that. He finances a movie, and it happens to open the same day as the new Peppy Miller movie, and his movie is not attended by anybody but Peppy Miller. A couple people, and Peppy Miller's there.
Yeah. And he realizes that talkies have taken over. The public actually is interested in new stuff.
And he's so stubborn in the to change that he refuses to, and he turns into an alcoholic, and he has to.
Well, he's an artist, and he doesn't want to compromise his artistic vision just to make extra money and be popular.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's really awesome. I didn't know if I'd like this movie, to tell you the truth. But it was getting so good reviews, and everybody's saying how great. Who was the actor's name who portrays George Valentine?
He's French.
Desjardins or something. I forget his first name.
Jacques.
Is it Jean Desjardins? Something like that.
Sorry,
we're terrible. But he is fantastic in
Where's
that
your
movie.
laptop? You could have it open.
Well, then I'll pick up the noise. But anyways, he's fantastic in the movie. He is.
Well, everybody is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That movie is amazing.
The thing is, movie I don't think we've clarified. This movie is silent except for orchestral music.
Exactly.
It's it's a classic silent film, except for a few parts where I love the scene where they toy with sound effects.
Oh yeah,
where he's having the bad dream
because he's realizing the sound is that's a great.
At that moment, I thought this movie was gonna go weird.
And turn into a talking movie,
fully talking movie. Yeah, but it's
cool
how it turned out to be a dream and everything.
Yeah,
just since there's no dialogue except for title cards in the movie, it forces all the actors to tell the story just through physical interaction.
You know what I love too about the movie is even though there was title cards, there'd be times where the characters would be talking
and you
knew what they were
like
saying, and then the title card would say, "What are you talking about?"
A little summary, yeah.
But you knew exactly what they were. It was amazing, and the dog is the hero of the movie. Remember, he saves him from the fire. It's great.
Oh yeah.
I was laughing so hard. That dog's so cute. But then when she was an extra in the movie, there was a German affair, because what was the first movie? It was like a English affair, and then he made like the sequel was a German affair. Was the second movie he made.
Shoot.
And then he was dancing by, and he ended up dancing with Peppy, and then they ended up dancing for too long, and then they kept on doing take after take, and you could feel like their romance growing on each take. It was
like, oh, I botched this line. Sorry.
Yeah. That was
cute. Yeah.
It was amazing. The movie is.
It's
amazing.
just nice to see something different like that,
Yeah,
different. It's not new, but it's taking something old that you forgot about that
exactly
was nice, but people don't. General audiences don't care about silent films, or it's people who like enjoy film that appreciate this movie, like us, who can see something like this and notice the beauty of it.
And not only that, but it's people who who believe in the movie. It's there's quite a few big actors in it.
Yeah.
And they all kind of have just, they want to be part of this movie where it's cute. And I want to reveal the ending because it's so amazing, but at the same time, people should see it. I mean, we already spoil everything, but, George gets so mad with his silent movies that he burns them all in his apartment, and he ends up getting smoke inhalation, and his dog has to run and get a police officer. It's amazing. But he grabs the one film, The German Affair, that he met, Peppy Miller in. And at this time, Peppy Miller is a huge star. So when he's recovering in the hospital, she has him move to her house where she can take care of him. And we totally skipped over the part where it doesn't matter.
What?
Where she bought all his stuff because he was auctioning it off because he was poor.
Oh yeah.
So he auctioned all his stuff, and Peppy Miller had her chauffeur buy all the stuff.
And because she feels guilty because she had that press interview where she dissed.
There's so much going on in like an hour and 20 minute movie. No, maybe it was an hour and a half.
It's 100 minutes, I think.
Was it?
Yeah.
The movie's so fantastic. But she fights for him to be in her new movie, so he can prove it. And he has too much pride. And he gets all mad, and he's going to kill himself. And the dog won't let him. It's really cute.
Yeah, in the clever way of like someone in my audience. In the audience,
did someone go, "Oh!"
Yeah,
it happened in my audience too.
Yeah.
So a great moment. Like, I knew he wasn't going to kill himself, but I mean, it's great that the movie is able to bring those emotions out. And there's no talking. Again, it's all through music and title cards is what's happening, and acting. And I will, even though I knew he wasn't going to kill himself, when the dog is pulling on his leg and begging him not to kill himself, it's kind of moving, because it's his best friend and he knows what he's doing. I thought it was really moving.
I also loved how authentic the movie was.
Yeah.
Like, it was even shot, or I don't know if it was shot, but projected in the old square ratio.
Did you see it at the Chez Artistes too?
Yeah.
And then they had to bring the curtains in. It's really cool.
They left my curtains open, so
Did
there's
they?
like black on either side.
Oh, they brought the curtains in on my showing.
Oh. But yeah, and then just I forget what it was, but there's like some props on a table that were like from that era. Like just the clothes hangers.
Yeah.
Like if I was making it, I probably wouldn't think of like you just get like maybe some wire ones with the cardboard tube, like the really cheap ones from dry cleaners. Like you probably just throw that in there, but they got like these really like old timey coat hangers.
And also too, sometimes when it would cut, like the cut wasn't very good. It was like a 1920s cut. Did you catch that? Like the editing, like it'd be a weird cut and it'd be like the sound would pop.
Oh, no, I didn't.
No, maybe if you watch it again. I don't know, maybe it's just the print I had, but if it did, I thought it was authentic.
I couldn't tell if it was. I think it's still a real projector at the Chez Artistes. I don't think it's a digital projector, so maybe. But yeah, just the film grain of it and everything, and
so yeah, but I mean, how he ends up
black and white
becoming part of the talkies is, he tells Peppy, he says, no one wants to hear me talk. And then he realizes that he doesn't have to say anything. His dancing can be his voice, and it's amazing. And the last little dance number they do.
I want to explain that, but I can't because it like spoils the ending.
Yeah, but but they do this little dance number.
Like, it's not just the dance.
No, there's way more. But you know what I mean? It's fantastic.
Either way, The Artist.
Yeah,
one of the best movies of the year.
For sure. So you should
probably end up talking about.
We'll probably talk about it next week too. So you should go see it.
Yeah,
for sure.
Highly recommended.
Highly recommend The Artist.
I miss movies like that. And after like seeing Metropolis on the midnight showings, it's just like I wanted to make one like right away. I was like, I want to do a black and white movie. We used to do that.
Yeah,
so
it's fun. And I mean, the brand new video game is your silent movie.
And Man Eating Orange. Yeah. Anywho, don't know about Nebulous Visions.
Go to nebulousvisions.com and check out those videos. They're amazing. So the first movie we saw today was War Horse.
Now we're today.
So we're at today. Brad, should people go see War Horse?
Yes.
I will say yes too. Here's the trailer.
What is it?
It's a horse they found wandering about in no man's land.
What kind of an horse?
A miraculous kind of an horse, be my guess.
Return him to your care.
He's my horse, sir.
Can you imagine flying over a war? And you know you can never look down. You have to look forward, or you'll never get home.
It is an honor to ride beside you. Let every man make himself and his country proud. Be brave. Be brave! Be brave!
The amazing thing with Spielberg sometimes is when he shoots scenes, sometimes I think they're just so beautiful. I mean, he had so many like panoramic scenes of the English countryside and the French countryside, and it was.
I missed the credits. Was it Janusz Kaminski again as director of photography?
I forgot. I didn't double check.
Chances are it was, but I mean, he like I think it's more because he's the director of photography. He decides how beautiful the shots look. Like Spielberg, plans it out and like I want the camera to go here, but I think it's really him who decides the color tone and
but it had it was cool, because it's basically two worlds where you have this beautiful lush farm and then the horrors of the war,
which Spielberg's illustrated. He understands very well.
Very good at that. But I guess we should set it up. This little horse was born, and it's the rebel horse. And no one can train it, and for some reason, this boy's father... He can't be tamed. This boy's father believes that this horse could plow his field, and even though he didn't get a work horse, and
so this horse is born, and this boy, for some reason, is present.
I didn't get that.
He's a neighbor, because this horse is from a thoroughbred breeding family. And when it's of age, it goes get auctioned off, and it just happens that boy's father is in town to get a plowing horse, but he's a drunkard and he likes to challenge his landowner. So he overbids and ends up with a breeding horse instead of a plowing horse, like an idiot.
Yep.
Sorry, go on.
But no, that's fine. You summed it up better. And so the basic first half of the movie is him trying to train this horse to plow a field, and at first it's skittish, but the horse develops this bond with Albert, the kid, and he really only listens to him, and through patience and being rewarding and being kind to this horse in turn returns the favor by plowing the whole field and saving the family. And
then the army comes in and the war starts.
Yeah, the army comes in.
World War
One. And Loki buys the horse from Tom Hiddleston buys the horse from the family.
The crops get ruined.
The crops get ruined. That's a lot of turnips.
Yeah. When the father when the landowner comes to collect the rent, they don't have enough, and then he promises, I can turn this field really quickly and I'll get your money back. And so they do that miraculously, but then fate intervenes and washes away the crop, and it sucks. And he can't pay, so he's like, I got to sell the horse
to the war. And he did it without Albert knowing, so Albert was all heartbroken, and he ran down there, but it was too late. He bought the horse, and he was upset, but the colonel made a promise that he'd return the horse to him. And so then the horse is on the front lines almost immediately. He went out there, and then it was...
And from then on, he just goes from battle to like the Nazi side or Russian side first.
No, they're German. I don't know.
I thought they were the Russians first in the charge, and then it was the Germans. Basically, the horse doesn't stay on the British side.
He goes to the bad guy's side.
Yeah, and then back and forth, and then
I think it's the Germans.
Yeah,
because what isn't one of the kids' names Gunther or something? That's a German name. Gunther.
Yeah, Gunther. I guess so.
But anyways, so yeah, but one of the things with this movie is the humans are not the main character. That horse is the main character because you are following his journey. Because after Loki gets the horse, you don't see that kid again forever, and it's about his journey. And one of the things, even though our audience member of elderly people was kind enough to point it out to us, was I love how they shot Tom Hiddleston's character being killed. That's really not ruining anything. He died in the first 20 minutes of the movie, but it's he's charging, and then they realizes that they're in trouble, and it kind of goes away. And then Joey, the horse, is riding by himself, the riderless horse, which is a huge military symbolism for a dead person.
Mm-hmm.
And
I thought it was interesting because I totally expected Spielberg, because based on Saving Private Ryan, I expected a really gory when those machine guns come out, but I enjoyed that it was more like a cutaway thing.
I read why he didn't do that is because it's not a war movie to him. Mm-hmm. It's about the horse.
Yeah.
And, I tease this a little bit, and I read that he went to the play on Broadway and loved it so much.
Is the play? I don't know.
Yeah, I guess it's a really elaborate play because, obviously you have to have a puppet be the horse. And Spielberg was blown away, and he went there and said, hey, I want to make this into a movie. And I said, all right. That's how much power that dude has. He's like, I'm going to make this into a movie.
How do you if Spielberg comes to you and wants to turn your anything into a movie,
fuck yeah, dude.
Who says no?
Nobody. And then 6 months later, he has a movie in the can.
Yeah.
He shoots so efficiently.
So anyway, without explaining too much for the rest of the plot, basically the horse goes from military incident to military incident, and just trying to find his way back to the farm boy.
The farm boy. But my
Albert.
The scenes, there's so many cute scenes in it. Unfortunately, the two German boys, when they run away, are killed because desertion. You can't do that. They'd kill you anyways. I think you're killed in the United States. Well, maybe back then. Now you might get a trial, but you can't do that. So, anyways, it ends up. I thought the farm scene with the little French girl and her grandfather was really cute.
Yeah.
And then my favorite scene in the whole movie was Joey is caught in the middle of this war because the Allies are advancing on the Germans. So when they're marching, they realize that these horses are in trouble. The soldiers, so they all try to run away, and Joey gets caught between this tank and barbed wire, and he ends up running over the tank, and he runs through the battlefield, and then he gets caught in barbed wire.
Yeah,
and
can't go anywhere.
And he's trapped. And then the British side realizes that it's a horse, and then the German side realizes it's a horse, and they're both trying to call to it, but then they realize it can't move because it's trapped in barbed wire. And so
the British guys wave a white flag.
Yeah, the British guy waves a white flag, walks out to help this horse, and all of a sudden there's a German guy behind him, and the German guy comes out to help him,
and each one is like looking back at each other, like waiting for the other to strike.
But this horse has brought them together, and it's really interesting, the scene. And my favorite line in the whole movie was kind of a tension reliever, where the British guy says, "You speak good English," and the German guy says, "I speak English well."
Yeah,
and it's really funny.
grammar
joke, and German guy, and so they end up getting this horse free, and then they kind of have this camaraderie between the two, and then they realize they're still in a war, and they kind of let it go for a while, and they flip a coin for the horse, and the British guy happens to win.
Spoiler.
And so he.
It was just a great scene, just like no one's personally fighting each other. Like it's nationality versus nationality.
Exactly.
And
the scene was just, and it's so well shot. Like I just love what me and James have talked about before. It's like Spielberg kind of knows where to put the camera. You know what I mean? It's not that he's.
I read, I forget where it was from, but I think it was an iPhone thing. The iPhone was touting like Spielberg used his iPhone to go out to a stable and just record different shots of horses to get prepared for the movie and everything. So, sorry, cat's in the way. Like he prepared by just kind of going out and just shooting all these different to see like what looked good behind the lens and everything before actually just kind of shooting.
So the movie was cool.
And the only thing I didn't like about the movie was it's really minor, but the opening. Like, I don't think that he needed to... Like, so the horse gets birthed, right? And then it cuts to the title card, War Horse. Yeah. And then it cuts back. And it seems so, like, just... Because they didn't even have, like, actor credits in the beginning, even.
No.
Which is weird, because I think as a Directors Guild member, you have to include... Yeah. So he got away with that, but it's just like... And then at the end, it says War Horse again.
Like I guess because it's about the horse, would be my guess, is why he did it. Because I don't know.
It was just a weird part of the movie, like, and also the birthing scene it was very like. Obviously, we don't need to see detailed horse birth, but the fact that it was not shown too was also kind of like it jumped around so much. But pretty much after the auction, the movie kind of levels out and becomes like a very typical Spielberg.
Yeah, I guess my only complaint with the movie is it seems kind of Oscar baity, where they have those really, I don't know, corny lines all the time, and sometimes the scenes seem really like melodramatic to me, where they don't really need
for the
them.
sake of being like purposely tugging at heartstrings.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the ladies behind us were bawling. At the end.
To his credit, like if people think it's I guess not. What's the word? Like, I don't mind that Spielberg is finding ways to pull at your heartstrings.
Oh, no, not at all. I think that's my only complaint, though. I guess more so at the auction of Joey is the only part I thought was like, that's kind of stupid. You know, he's going against the evil landlord, and they're bidding, and I'm like, it's... And his dad's a loser. At that part, sometimes those parts are really, I think, seem out of place sometimes.
Yeah, there are some things he plays too comfortably, and he's done them a lot, but... I don't know. For some reason, I have to give him a pass on it because it just works so well.
Yeah, I mean
the movie.
That's my only minor complaint in the movie. Other than that, the movie's pretty good. You know, I mean, there's not much else you can say about it. I mean,
it's just good. It's very sentimental and just of interesting journey. Like the little things the horse comes across on his way back.
Yeah,
like these little.
And you're also
insights into these people's lives that he crosses.
You know, exposed to the horrors of the war and stuff.
Yeah, they're like tragic and funny, and and like the without spoiling things, but like using the fact that the boy can't see at the end to like, it's like. Some people would say,
we spoil everything, Brad. You can just say it. It doesn't matter.
Like, Spielberg's using sympathy, like using that to generate sympathy for this scene. That's not it's not very climactic. It's
I don't think it's. See, the scenes I let him get away with that those ones don't bother me because it's I don't know, because only he would know that horse. So him not seeing and doing the call, and it's what they call it, the miraculous horse, or
the miraculous horse.
The miraculous horse.
But it's like in most movies, you kill the bad guy and it's over. But this movie doesn't have that.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, like I've heard a lot of anti-Spielberg stuff, so I'm visioning this through the lens of someone watching and being like, oh, this is way too syrupy, and yeah, of course he's blind and he can recognize the horse without seeing. I don't mind that at all. I think it's great. I think it either. Like it made those girls cry.
Oh man, that's uncontrollably.
That's how much of a master of the film he is. Like he's able to, like he has that tool set of just to be able to get you to go along with any movie.
The most amazing thing is it's not a human character that's making you do that.
Yeah.
It's a horse. This horse has been through. I mean, the horse has been through hell.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that pulling up the artillery, fighting in the battles, and that it survived. I mean, those German kids who stole it, and then the German kids were captured.
He's really not the only horse character. Like, there's another horse throughout the movie that followed him along. Which, by the way, did it just get
ran over by the tank? I thought that too. It just ran over.
Just horse meat.
Or it might have already died. I think it died when it fell over.
Well, it died when it fell over, but I mean, its remains were crushed. Like I said, horse meat.
Horse meat. Well, make some glue.
Yeah.
But no,
he ran back through that tunnel where it died, and you didn't see it, so I was like,
yeah. But the movie was really good.
It's just beautiful. Like, it's shot really well.
Very well.
It's got, like, personifies a horse, I guess. It's not an inanimate object. It just makes you, like, you really connect with the horse.
For the horse.
You know what it's going through. You understand.
And that's, I think the most amazing thing about the movie is, I mean, the human characters, I think actually Tom Hiddleston's character was the best in the movie as the general guy who dies really soon. I think he's in the movie, 10 minutes? I think 10 minutes he's in the movie. But I thought he was really, really good in it. And
I thought everyone was really good in it. I mean, there's no standout human character
other
than Albert.
Yeah, but it's not supposed to be because it's about the horse. It's not
and just the lives it affects.
Exactly. And I don't know, I really loved the little French girl in it. I thought she was really cute. How much she loved the horse and wanted to train it, and her grandfather was really good in it. So yeah, it was interesting, and how the war affects everybody and things like that.
Yeah, horse's vessel.
Because you always think of war affecting humans, but you don't know how much it affects these poor animals. That, I mean, when Joey gets to the German camp and they're forcing them to pull up the artillery in the hills, and they're just killing the horses left and right, and there's that huge pit of 50 horses in it. And before I went to the movie, I was telling my father, who loves military history, about it, and he said that in the British Army that horses like that were treated with the same respect as the military, and if you didn't keep your horse in proper order, you could be court-martialed and stuff.
Wow.
So they were really well taken care of, and that's why, when they're reunited, that he's given all, the same quarter as an officer, because they realize that this is a British horse that they saved. So yeah, so you should go see War Horse. It's pretty amazing. And then we saw Sherlock Holmes, Game of Shadows. Brad, should people see the second Sherlock Holmes movies?
Sure, yeah.
I think so too. I was actually kind of surprised by this one.
Yeah, me too. And we'll talk about it after the trailer.
What do you see?
Everything. That is my curse.
Oh, how I've missed you, Holmes.
Have you?
I barely noticed your absence.
I'm knee-deep in the single most important case of my career.
What are we up against here?
The most formidable criminal mind in Europe.
Professor James Moriarty.
If we can stop him, we should prevent the collapse of Western civilization. No pressure.
Who are you two?
Concerned citizens.
Mr. Holmes? I have a feeling you're in danger.
Are you sure you want to play this game?
I'm afraid you'd lose.
Oh dear.
What? I agree, it's not my best disguise.
You know my methods. Shall we get to work? Your clock is ticking. Do you trust me?
No. Did you just kill my wife? I timed it perfectly.
Just follow my lead.
Make it count.
I'd say that counts. You do seem excited, manic. I am. Verging on ecstatic, psychotic. I should have brought you a sedative.
You know, the one thing I will say about the Sherlock Holmes movies and Guy Ritchie movies, they're fun. I mean, is it going to be in my top 10 next week? Stay tuned. But the movie was cool, and I think Robert Downey Jr. is one of my favorite actors because he makes everybody use. I mean, I'm straight, I'm married, but I'm like, oh, if Robert Downey Jr. is so cool, I would date Robert Downey Jr. You know what I mean?
Wow. All right.
But you know what I mean? All his characters he plays are usually pretty cool. You know, he doesn't have a character I don't like in movies, I guess.
I have to watch some of his like early '90s stuff, but
everything
he's done since like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang has been great.
Yeah, well, he was not around for a while because he was in prison, but yeah, no, I haven't seen the first Sherlock Holmes since the theaters, and that's pretty bad.
Yeah, me neither.
But they did a really good job of resetting up because I forgot that he's so intelligent that he can see the end of everything. You know, I forgot that they had that in the first one, and where he's about to get in a fight and he predicts everybody's actions in the fight.
Yeah,
it's I don't know what you'd call that.
But
I remember that from the. I remember,
yeah,
I remember that from the first one, so it kind of got me right back into it.
Speaking of watching the first one, like I liked the first one, but I felt it really lacked like real detective work, which I associate with Sherlock Holmes. Like this is an action Sherlock Holmes character, and so when this movie came out and I saw the trailer, I was like, this looks like almost exactly more of the same.
Yeah,
you know, like a Hangover 2 for Sherlock Holmes, and so my expectations were low going into this movie, but after watching it, like I don't feel like this like again very lacking in detective work. It's almost like very lazy.
Yeah,
like Sherlock Holmes just says everything. Like you know, here's this and here's this and this is how I thought of this ahead of time, and like no one actually really kind of does anything except shoot guns and punch people, and like he has all these traps laid out and things ahead of time and stuff, and so there's like just a lot of, you know, oh well you did this, oh I thought of this, and then we go back and retrace it, so it's kind of lazy in that aspect, but still it's somehow fun to watch it unfold.
Yeah, I get what you mean because well, I guess we should talk about the movie. So the movie
here's the plot.
Or
the setup.
There's a huge, I guess Sherlock Holmes already knows that Professor Moriarty is kind of this bad guy, and he has this huge clues pointing to what he's doing, and so it kind of opens with him.
He's been following him since the last movie when he found out that Moriarty was even involved in anything.
Exactly.
So he's got like this huge.
Mark Strong was hanging from a bridge. I remember that part.
He's got this huge map on the wall with connecting lines and stuff. He's got like an office which is interesting because Moriarty has almost the same office.
Yeah. And so he's there and he's trying to figure it out. Rachel McAdams is in it very briefly.
As a pawn of Moriarty. Was she a pawn of Moriarty in the first one? I forgot.
I guess they didn't say, but I remember from the first one she was some kind of thief that was like the foil to Sherlock Holmes. I'm going to have to watch the first one again now, but she made the mistake of working for Moriarty, and she did not last very long in the movie. She died. And that's actually a driving force for Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's a spoiler. It's like in the first 10 minutes. So I think that's a driving factor later when he finds out that she's dead. But anyways, so Watson's getting married, and he's not going to be involved with Sherlock Holmes anymore. And he shows up at Holmes's place, and Sherlock Holmes is working on a couple new tricks, and they forgot to plan his stag party, which is a bachelor party for us Americans, but he also has ulterior motives to go to the stag party, where he meets this gypsy, which I thought was the most unnecessary character in the movie, but whatever.
unnecessary. Her brother is.
Yeah.
He needs someone to like track.
Her brother, I guess,
from the gypsy side to track him down because the brother is
maybe it's just
integral to Moriarty's plan.
Interesting.
But first Moriarty actually invites Sherlock Holmes to meet him, and
I love that payoff.
Invites him to join his game.
Yeah, which is the Game of Shadows.
Yeah,
which I read a review and they said, well, you never really told what the Game of Shadows is. And the Game of Shadows is Moriarty is.
It's all cloak and dagger.
Exactly, he's the guy in the shadows. He's the guy playing with everybody.
Yeah, and there's all this misdirection, which there's a whole scene of Sherlock Holmes chases one thing and he makes a mistake. Like he
great.
Got too confident,
and I think Guy Ritchie makes really interesting visual movies. I think sometimes how he sets up things is really cool. Like he's a cool filmmaker. I mean, you can go back to Snatch, Lock, Stock, Two Smoking Barrels, and stuff. And the only mistake he ever made was marrying Madonna. Gotta put that out there.
Which, sorry, to kind of derail a bit. When you were at the Sheraton, did you see that preview for that Madonna movie?
Yeah, it was terrible.
I don't know what to make of that.
It seemed really...
Well, at first I thought it was like, oh, this is like some King's Speech Oscar bait.
Yeah.
By some famous director. And then it was like Madonna. I was like, what?
But then you really think about it. It seems really made by somebody who's never directed a movie before.
It's... You've seen the King's Speech, right?
Yeah.
Her movie is like the woman's side of that movie.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
I guess, yeah.
Anyway, back to Sherlock Holmes.
So
Moriarty's got this ultimate master plan, and Sherlock Holmes is on a quest. Well, first, Moriarty reveals, like, I'm going to kill Watson.
Yeah.
Good luck. And so Sherlock Holmes, after that, like, after learning that Rachel McAdams is dead and Watson's next, like... Sherlock is off on his quest.
And Moriarty made it personal.
Yeah, he made it personal, yeah.
So he kind of got mad about that, and so he interrupts their honeymoon. Well, Moriarty interrupts it first, and then Sherlock Holmes kind of helps.
Then on that, it's kind of like the original Sherlock Holmes, where it's like, they go to this place, and they go to this place and fight these guys, and then...
Yeah, and I guess Sherlock Holmes has a brother who's gay.
Oh, you didn't know about Mycroft?
No. I didn't know at all. Was he in the first one?
I didn't know he was gay.
He wasn't in the first one, was he?
No.
No, I didn't think so. I've only read a few Sherlock Holmes books. That was a long time ago.
Well, I watched the new British Sherlock.
And they explain it. I mean, I haven't seen it.
I don't think there's only 3 episodes, so there's not a lot of... Like, it's mostly about the mysteries. They don't really get into backstories and whatnot. But, Mycroft is, the rival brother. And in that show, he's connected with the British government. Actually,
and he is in the movie too.
Lestrade is he's not involved in the show a whole lot. Like he's a lot in the first episode, but in the next 2, I don't think he's in the second one even, if I can remember. But it's Mycroft is more involved in the show.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just guessing he's gay because he's like this really nice gentleman, and everyone kind of makes fun of how he looks, like Sherlock does. And then he's walking around naked in front of that girl, and he talks about how it might be fun to try the other gender.
I think you might be right, because I think there's another scene that I'm forgetting the details of, but they allude to it. But it doesn't. It's really not important to the story.
No, it's not important. He's just like some proper British official guy.
Yeah. I think it's just an excuse for Stephen Fry to be goofy on camera.
Yeah,
like they're trying to give him more to do because he's such a big British.
And he was funny. Like I thought he was fun, and then and I think Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes is more of a zany character.
I thought his disguises were going to be like really hammy, and like from the trailer they seemed like just really tired and like, oh, he's got fake teeth, isn't that hilarious? Or he's dressed up as women. Oh, that's comedy gold right there. But actually, it worked pretty well in the movie.
Yeah, it was pretty funny though at the beginning when he was the Chinaman, and you could see like the bald cap and everything, and because you could totally put it on really quick and
like the disguises are like they kind of stand out. They're not perfect,
Yeah,
he doesn't really get away with wearing disguises that like too perfectly.
But it's really cool. I like the payoff at the end.
Do you?
Yeah.
I was going to talk about why.
Well, I mean, not the very end, but I loved how there was all these hints throughout the movie if you really paid attention. They did show the quick shot of that book, and they showed all this other little stuff. So I loved how Sherlock Holmes beat him at his own game.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not talking about the very end, but like, where he's telling him what he did, and he knew that he had this. I thought it was pretty interesting.
I like how it kind of came together, as a chess game or whatever. But I kind of wish I'd been able to follow those things clearly, so I could also be the detective as an audience member.
I think you have to watch again. I mean, I did see some of those shots in it. When he met Moriarty for the first time at his school, they showed the quick shot of the book.
Yeah, I mean, I saw those things, but it's like, if someone had told me then, I would have known to I saw that shot of the book, and I'm like, where's that going to play later? And I wish the movie had actually kind of tied that together as it went along, so I could play detective as well and be, engaged,
I don't think that's
in the
Guy
movie.
Ritchie's kind of style, though.
Yeah.
He has that really hyper-kinetic style where it's, cut,
more
cut,
action,
cut.
That's what I miss from these American Sherlock Holmes movies, is because in the British TV show, you do follow those details and you work it through with Sherlock, whereas Robert Downey Jr. is like, hey, remember this? And here's how it all gets put together, and I just explained it to you. It's like, I want to go along with Robert Downey Jr. as he's putting it together, instead of just it being told at the end. That's what I miss. And the other thing is, I didn't like about the movie is that I'm going to go into spoiler territory because I can't.
Yeah. We spoil everything. Who cares?
Well, I'm going to give a little warning for this one.
Spoiler warning.
Yeah. So, okay. First of all, the whole plot line of people being able to rip their faces off and disguise themselves by changing their surgically in that era, they have that technology to basically do face off, is far-fetched for me. The tower falling over and not killing either Moriarty or Sherlock was come on, are you kidding me? All those bricks and steel and whatever, and everyone just walks away fairly unscathed. And then when Sherlock Holmes grabs Moriarty and they just tumble off that enormous waterfall, and I know he had the respirator, but how is Moriarty dead? Or it's open, Moriarty could come back, but still, it's just that was a huge fall, huge. Even if you had the respirator, you probably broke something.
Well, I watched
hitting the water.
I watched MythBusters this week, and they did an experiment where if you experienced the same type of injuries falling on cement or water, and they found out that cement is 4 times more painful. But they dropped a pig from 600 feet onto cement, and it decapitated it. Well, they didn't show it was inside a bag. And then they did it 600 feet into water, and it had broken bones and stuff. So yeah, he probably wouldn't walk away from that.
Yeah, but he did.
He did.
Apparently.
Well, he had time to recover.
Yeah, so there's that.
I would thought it more interesting if they let him die, if Sherlock Holmes died at the end. He really did.
I thought he did. It was such a convincing ending up to that point. I was just because you think this is a franchise, they wouldn't let Robert Downey die in the second one.
Yeah, but too, he said, this is the last time I'll ever involve you in a thing, and so I thought maybe him dying is kind of, this is the last Sherlock Holmes movie. Yeah,
I started to think, is there some kind of Hollywood deal that some Hollywood news I missed where they're not going to do this again, or I don't know, but. It was a weird, and why even toy with that? Because at the same time, you're this is a big money maker. I don't think they're gonna let Sherlock Holmes, die off in the second one. So, yeah, but that my biggest gripe was just this weird, huge brick tower falls on everybody. And
yeah, and that just goes with I think the action movie kind of thing.
Falling off of a waterfall, and
maybe he did a swan dive into it and was able to glide in.
That was a huge drop.
Yeah,
it was more than.
But I was surprised how much fun the movie was, and again, it just goes back to I think Robert Downey Jr. is really good at movies, and he plays characters really well, and he's a fun actor to watch. And
his banter back and forth with Jude Law.
Yeah, it's like the bromance of the 19th century.
So yeah, I was surprised. I mean, I don't know if it was great, but
that was fun
because those little things. But yeah, it was still fun to watch. I was, like I said, I expected to be bland and tired, but I was. Yeah. That was interesting still to watch.
So pleasantly surprised. So
I'm not regretting if they make a third one. I won't be ugh, again.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll be okay, let's see what else you got.
So guess what, Brad?
What's
you
up,
can
Brad?
follow us on Twitter. real_nerds.
It's been an hour already? Wow.
You can also like us on Facebook, Real Nerds Podcast. You can read our awesome blogs at realnerds.tumblr.com. And if you stay tuned next week, we are having our 2011 blowout, and I thought you were gonna make a bunch of like banners and stuff for it.
I'm working on it. I can't. I haven't found the artistic feel yet, but I'm running out of time. I know.
So that'll be January 6th.
I was busy fixing last week's podcast.
I will send you the list of my movies soon because
Both
you need a lot of
need to let me know
trailers
so
to
I
get going.
can get trailers prepared, because we're not just gonna insert the trailers after the show's recorded. We're gonna watch them as we go along, so that if there's movies some of us haven't seen, we'll know what each other is talking about. So I'm not talking about some indie flick, and you guys are just staring at me like, "Oh, that's great, Brad."
Yeah, that's a stupid movie.
On to number 7.
Nice choice, Brad.
Yeah, so you guys kind of see what I was interested in and whatnot, and
yeah,
I can see what you guys were interested in.
I'm kind of excited because I thought this year of movies was way better than last year. Because I have a lot to choose from.
Interesting.
You don't think so?
I don't want to spoil next week's show, but I think it was on par with last year.
Oh, wow. Brad's always a stick in the mud.
The artist helped me feel better about 2011. It was a lot of meh for me.
Really?
Like, it wasn't like, oh, this is shit. There's a lot of like, that was good. What else you got? But anyway.
But yeah, I will also be on Twitter. Make sure if you guys are following us on Twitter that you send us your favorite movies.
Yes.
I only got one vote for people's favorite movies on Facebook.
I know. You even had like the other option. So
yeah. So hopefully on Facebook, let us know what your favorite movie is.
Fans have been quiet this week as opposed to previous weeks.
So yeah.
So we want to include you in our extravaganza.
Exactly, because it's going to be a big show and it's going to be really long. So
James is dreading the length of it.
Yeah, it's
He's like, do we really have to have the trailers in this one? I'm like, it's no fun without the trailers.
Yeah,
man.
dude. That's our little that's a Real Nerds thing we do.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to it. There'll also be a couple little surprises.
I think I want to add another dynamic to the show, because people listening to Real Nerds haven't listened to the other shows, and they don't know that it's just a format of, trailer, talk about it. I want to make it bigger. I want to add something else to the show, because we're not going to have news, and we're not going to have what we've been watching. Except for, what we've been watching for 12 months.
Exactly. So, stay tuned for that. And if you have ideas, I know we're just talking on our podcast right now, but if you have ideas, make sure you email them to me, because I have ideas too, and then we can kind of have a format for our show.
I know.
And then we'll...
I don't have ideas. I'm saying we need to have some.
Yeah. So what we'll do, Real Nerds listeners, if you have any ideas for us that you'd like to hear us talk about for the show, please do. I will, before the show airs... and we record it, I will post on our Facebook and our Tumblr. It won't fit on Twitter, but I'll post the format of the show so you can kind of see what we're going to do and what you can look forward to, like the movies that nobody saw that we really liked, things like that.
Yeah, we don't usually get to include like honorable mentions or like worst movies and stuff.
Yeah, but we will this year.
We'll put something together.
Because we've seen so many movies. I have seen 65 movies this year.
I haven't counted yet, but I'm guessing it's less than that, but...
Yeah.
More than 40.
The only reason I know is because James has been counting, and then I went through his list, and I counted too. And then I saw 4 movies this week after I saw 61, so I'm at 65. So yeah, make sure you stay tuned for that, because I'm excited, because it'll be really fun. So from all of us...
We're going to make it a big party.
Yeah,
it's going to be great.
People don't know this, but the first year we did this, you wore a top hat on our Nebcast 2009
I forgot about
edition.
That.
You did.
I probably didn't do that for the next one because people didn't like it.
But hey,
I also had flashcards.
If you want to, you did. If you want to listen to what we liked 2 years ago and last year, you can go to Nebcast and you can listen to those ones. The first one is just me and Brad. The second one's me and James. But they're lots of fun. So yeah, Nebcast is also the sister podcast of Real Nerds.
Nebcast on iTunes, nebcast.tumblr.com.
Everywhere. We're everywhere. We're like social media geniuses. Hey, guess what? We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Brad said bye!
Just because James isn't here.
Oh, what a nice guy. Oh, get Birdman Barbecue.